Well, hello, everybody. I'm super happy to be with you today because we are here to add more value to you, your life, your family, and all the dynamics that go with that. I'm Charlene Green, and I'm introducing Dr. John Taylor, who happens to be my father as well. So double blessing for me to be able to introduce him and bring him to you today so we can help you with this topic. This is actually a really important topic because it's going to really help you with creating some structure. And structure creates freedom because you know how to operate, creates more flow in your life. And when you start implementing some of what you're going to learn today about family meetings and those dynamics, I think you're going to see a real shift in your family, really that feeling of togetherness and a collaborative nature and really empowering your kids. So I'm excited for this today. And before I give it over to Dr. Taylor, I want to say he's been working in this field for over 40 years, bringing value and helping people to create better relationships, as I already said. He's written numerous books, articles, all kinds of pamphlets and tools. He's toured overseas, all over the United States, empowering people on all of these topics. And he's got a great website called Parentology.guide, where you can pick up more of the things should you want to further your education and really your skills today after you see some of what he's going to say. So without further ado, I'm here to bring you Dr. John Taylor. So take it away.
Thank you very much, Charlene. How glad I am that you can be here with us today. The topic of family meetings is very, very important. My experience is that I would say 2 to 3% of parents actually have some sort of regular family meeting scheduled in regularly. It's tragic that more parents don't. A lot of authorities in the field of family relationships and counselors who write books on family will mention family meetings. And it's unfortunate that it doesn't really get more championed. They mention it in a paragraph or two. But today I'd like to share with you really how to make it work for you. It's a wonderful idea, sometimes called family home evenings, family togetherness times, family special times, family business meetings. You can call it whatever you want, but there are several key principles here. The first one is, let's see our slide to show us that the first principle is that it is regular. Many families and the people who advocate family meetings, including myself, advise weekly. Doesn't have to be that way, of course, but I would suggest that. The idea that if we decide something in a meeting as a family, we better check and see how it went. Oh, let's check next week, a week from now. Give us a chance to do whatever that is we plan. So weekly is best. Now, some families have no regular schedule, but in an emergency, we'll call a family meeting. You know, the pet just died. What are we going to do as a family? That kind of thing. And that is not really what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about something you build in to your routines in your family. And now, it doesn't have to be weekly, but often is. Another principle I'd like to share with you is our next slide, that everyone is invited to the family meeting. Even the 2-year-old who isn't all that verbal, and even grandma who lives with us in our house and so forth. So everybody's invited, even though some may choose not to attend or simply not be able to attend because of an outside commitment, something that happens. We don't just not have a meeting just because one person can't be there. Generally speaking, you have the meeting and it keeps going in its own momentum. The meeting is called and it occurs regardless of who attends, but basically everybody is invited to the meeting. Everybody's invited to participate. It is not a lecture, it is not a scolding, it is not parents judging and evaluating their children. It is something that everybody has a voice and a choice in, so everybody's invited to participate. It literally is participatory. The next principle is our next slide, and that the authorities who first refined family meetings and teach about it, including myself, would advocate and do advocate that it be formalized to the level that we write down what happened at the last meeting. So we have some sort of minutes from the last meeting kind of deal, and we review them, and that should happen early in the meeting. Here we have the daughter looking at the minutes of the last meeting of the family in our little slide. So it's that dignified. It just isn't, oh, let's just hang out and slouch around and have an informal chat right now while we're munching on our candy. It is a meeting. and when minutes are read and so forth. And who keeps the minutes can vary each time. You can just decide who would like to be the secretary and write all this down for this meeting and report it next meeting. Because we want to see what happened in the last week. We want to be reminded, where did we leave off in our family decisions and so forth. The next principle I'd like to share with you to make family meetings really work well is a positive nature. Everybody sort of checks in with what I call success sharing, the good news this week. Tommy made a lot of baskets in the basketball game last Thursday, and Angela got an A on something or other at school, and Joan learned how to tie her shoes last week. I mean, whatever it is, it's sort of good news. And even if it isn't all good news, you can make it a good news by saying, you know, so and so learned a lesson last week. He learned not to postpone doing homework until 11 p.m. because he got a low grade in his test the next day. That can be a success. So turn the negatives into positives. It helps everybody practice that art of processing their life experiences and sharing them with the whole family, where they can get empathy and share the joy and comforting support of each other. So I like that. It's just an integrated thing to start meeting with. And then review of what's going to happen next week. Next week, what is our agendas? Who is going to do what next week in our family? So everybody knows that Susie's 4-H meeting is going to be next Thursday, and Tommy's basketball game is going to be on Friday, things like that. Another thing to include, make it really work well for you, is our next slide. The various issues that come up on raising a family in an orderly way. So we have who is going to do what, when, and why, and how this week. And are there decisions that need to be made about those? Are there any problems or difficulties anybody would like to talk about to make our family experience more smooth together here? And so it's really a wide open kind of category of things to discuss. And again, it is calm discussion. It's not shouting matches, it's not arguing, but we want emotional safety here. So even the youngest child feels safe to make his or her viewpoint or contribution about some issue that's relevant for the whole family to know. Keep the private material out of the family meeting. It should be family-wide issues. If there's an issue between mom and dad, that's a marital discussion issue that doesn't necessarily need to be paraded in front of all the kids, for example. Then another component of good family meetings is the individual issues. And so Tommy reports on his basketball game next Friday, how his team's doing, what he hopes to accomplish, how he would the last time. And Joey has a 4-H club project, and he describes his project to the family. And Alice is on the baseball team, and she wants to report about that. So individuals in the family are doing things. You sort of report that to the whole family, getting the feedback and the support and the attaboys from the rest of the family. The whole thing is quite loving and supportive, actually. And another component of family meetings is our next slide. Plans for the future, family-wide projects. What are we going to do on vacations? What are we going to do on holidays? What are we going to do this weekend? And who will buy the greeting cards to send to relatives for the next holidays and so forth. So the nuts and bolts of family fun plans, outings, projects the family's on. Is there a philanthropic project the family has? Are they donating money to some worthy cause as a family? So this is really what is on our agenda, what are our plans, who is going to do what, how, when. The mechanics of that is decided. And basically it's a fun thing, the fun things we're planning to do. Now, sometimes it isn't going to be fun. It's going to be some bad news we have to deal with, but we want the family to be organized on it. Any suggestions people have, what we should do about grandma's in the hospital right now? How can we help grandma? That kind of thing. So basically, plans and projects, what you might call family projects, are discussed, and everybody's opinion is expressed on that. The idea that the majority does not rule is an important point here. The people who are really expert in these family meetings almost never advise having majority rule. So we have 3 kids, 2 parents, and the vote is 3-2. The kids vote 3. The parents have 2 votes. We want to all move to Orlando so we can live near Disney World. Well, no, the family does not have to move to Orlando just because the vote was 3-2 in favor of the kids. It has to be unanimous. So family plans and really anything the family decides should be, as far as possible, unanimously agreed upon. So there's unity of purpose. If all you have is majority rule, then you have up to 50% of the people disgruntled. They didn't get their way. And we have sort of a competitive kind of atmosphere set up. So to avoid that, sort of have everybody understand, let's come to agreement on this. And if we can't come to agreement on whether we should go camping or fishing on the holiday coming up, the weekend or whatever, then let's study it out. This week, let's gather plans, let's gather data on it. How much would it cost? What's the weather likely to be, etc. Then we'll report back next meeting and decide on it. See if we can have greater unity next time. Always coming for unity in your decisions, not majority. And then next point is some component giving children and the parents, everybody in the family, a reminder that every human being is valuable, worthwhile, precious, of great merit and worth, and that we will need to treat each other with kindness, dignity, respect, courtesy, thoughtfulness, and love. So this could be something like a little lesson on friendship, or a lesson on being kind to others, or a lesson on how to apologize. What, for a better, lack of a better term, you might call a Sunday school lesson on something or other. And this can include the moral education, right and wrong and good and bad, that is part of raising children. And different family members can be assigned to make the reminder of worth message for that meeting. And it's everything from relationship to the cosmos, relationship to other people, relationship to life in general. And so anything from scripture reading and prayer to practicing giving friendly handshakes to each other, all presented in maybe a 2 to 3 minute kind of lesson that someone prepares. And again, you can rotate that task of doing that, and the kids can be fully participatory, really helping each other become more civilized human beings, more kind and generous, and more refined in their support of everybody's worth. Then the next component of family meetings, when I introduce this in my seminars, I sometimes joke that it greatly improves attendance if you give them their allowance at a family meeting, and the audience laughs about that. But it really is a very practical time if you, in your family, do have this kind of financial component of parenting and dole out allowances to the kids, whether or not you're tying it in with their chore accomplishments and other things like that. It's a good thing to do in the family meeting. It's not that that's the only reason you want them to come to the family meeting, but it's a convenient time to just have that be part of life. So we go from the social and your great worth to the mundane, the money, and include it all as part of the family meeting. Then our next teaching point here, I like to dress up family meetings with a celebration. So it can be a fun game the family plays, fun food the family shares. Now these, again, you can rotate who's in charge of that. So this week is Janelle's going to lead us in a game. Or this week, Tommy is going to present us with the cookies he and dad made, and so forth. So you can rotate parent-child pairs of preparing these fun snack food, and rotate the assignment of who's in charge of the game or fun for our family meeting. So the celebration moment, have it be whatever you wish it to be, whatever is appropriate for your family ethos there with the food and the fun, whatever the mix is that works well for you. Then the next thing I'd like to say to you is our next slide, that family meetings are a very, very good idea. They add so much. You can get lots of help on how to raise a family more healthily at our website. Hope you can visit it. We have lots of resources there for you. I like to point out that the most relevant resource that we have on our online bookstore, Parentology.guide, is written by two colleagues of mine who both, like me, have PhDs in their area, and it's called Raising Kids Who Can. The best book I've ever seen on the dynamics, the ins and outs of family meetings to make them work for you. So I hope this has been really helpful for you today, and hope you can have great success in making your family richer, more abundant, more full, and more happy and fulfilled, having regular family meetings.